What factors are important when selecting an adoption professional?
Obviously, that's a huge question. And my answer has really changed over the last year or two. It's a completely different answer. The answer I'd give you today is very different than a couple of years ago. In today's world, with everything being online and the way things are, I would say that protection is probably one of my number one things to look for. You definitely want to look for how long an organization has been in business, and you want to know how many adoptions they do. And equally as important, the thing that goes with that is how many families do they have waiting, how many people are waiting, because that's the ratio. But really protection, because this is a volatile world, it's a roller coaster ride, there are emotions, and you're dealing with birth parents and adoptive parents, and things can fall apart easily. That's just the reality of it, and you want to be prepared for that. But you need to be protected financially, and you need to be protected from things like scammers and all of those different things. So that's my number one thing now, is protection.
What birth parent information will we receive?
Okay, so this is a really important area. It's important for everybody, because when you're bringing a baby into your home, you want to make sure that it's the best fit that it can be. And one of the ways to do this is to make sure that you have as much information as possible. Now, organizations vary greatly in this area. They really do. You're going to find that most places, surprisingly, do not ask for drug testing and do not require medical records. Now, this is a personal thing. However, for you as an adoptive family to be prepared and to really know how to deal with and be ready for this child, the more information you have, the better. Our organization does ask a birth mom to drug test. We work with her if she's doing drugs, so it's not an issue of that. It's that we want to know what we're dealing with so we can find the right home for the baby. We do require medical records, because unfortunately the reality in today's world is people can make fake things online. So we just want to make sure that the information that we have is as accurate as it can be. So it's a really important thing to ask each place that you're considering. Do they drug test? Do they get the medical records directly from the medical facilities? All of these things are important in making sure this is the right baby for you and your family.
How long are Adoption Network Law Center's wait times?
Our average wait time is 4 to 13 months. Your own personal preferences could impact your average wait time, which that's what we're here for. We're gonna walk you through preferences and figure out comfort levels and make sure that you have the right expectations of what you can expect.
How much does it cost to adopt a baby in the United States?
The cost can be a little overwhelming when you first see it. It's definitely an investment. So it's good to know that with us, we like to go through everything that'll touch your adoption process. So it is gonna be the cost for our services, where we're guiding you step by step. It's taking care of all the services a birth mom's gonna need as well. It's also considering things that go outside of cost to us, like your home study provider, as well as final legal costs, because we want to make sure that your adoption is going to be legally sound at the end of the day.
How much does it cost to adopt a baby in the United States?
Well, it's not inexpensive, but let me say this. You do have a lot of options. There's always the foster system, which is essentially free, very minimal amount. You have small local entities that are going to be in the more low 20,000 to low 30,000 ranges. And then you have your nationwide newborn adoption, And that's going to cost you that's going to run around $38,000 to about $48,000. Now, cost is obviously important, and this has to work for your budget and what you're able to do. But one part of this that you have to consider is what protections do the places have? Because you might end up going with a place that is less, but they don't have protections for you, and in the long run, you're going to end up paying much more. Adoption is a volatile world. The reality is that a match can come apart for many reasons. Sometimes you want to pull out yourself because of new information. So you want to make sure you can do that, and what you've already invested is protected. So equally as important as the cost is how are you protected.
How can adoptive parent finance their adoption?
So once you learn the cost, part of the planning process will be figuring out how you're going to afford your adoption. There are a lot of options out there. There are adoption loans. There are secured and unsecured lines of credit. It's a good idea to get your tax professional involved, because there's also the federal tax credit that'll be available to you, as well as a number of adoption grants out there by various organizations. Fundraising is a very cool creative idea, especially for if you have a larger family or a community that's supporting you in your adoption journey. Places like GoFundMe, there's a number of them out there, and it's all about researching it and putting your plan together and getting the word out.
How does Adoption Network Law Center safeguard against birth mother scams and disrupted adoptions?
Okay, so those really are two different things, right? If a birth mom decides that this is not right for her, then this is not right for her, and that means it's not right for anybody, and we do want that match to end at that point. So on that end, we have lots of support for a birth mom. We want to make sure this is her decision, that this is the right choice for her. So she's going to have a lot of supports. She'll have an advisor, and there'll be a social worker and a mentor. And she's going to have time to settle into this, and lots of support to make sure this is right. Okay, so that's how we try to offset disruptions that way, making sure this is the right choice. Scammers are another issue. Okay, somebody coming into this and not having the intention to place is very different than somebody changing their mind. And the way that we want to safeguard that is we're going to do background checks. Is she who she says she is? Are the pieces of the puzzle fitting? Does she have fraud in her background? Okay. We are going to ask for medical records, right? We're going to ask her to sign the HIPAA medical release form. We want those medical records directly from the hospitals, clinics, and doctors. In our 20 years and over 20 years of doing adoptions, we have found that when somebody's not willing to give us those records directly, it's because there's something going on. So that's a huge red flag for us. So we're going to be really watching and looking to make sure she is who she says she is, and that this is what she wants to do.
When do birth parents relinquish their parental rights?
An advantage with us is that we work nationwide with various states for birth parents. So that means that we're going to be meeting state requirements for parental birth rights and when they can relinquish them. You are going to get all of those details when we have a birth mother to present with you and we know what her situation is.
What is the home study and when should we start it?
The home study process is making sure that you can provide a safe, stable, and nurturing environment for a child to be in. We want to make sure that it's a good fit for a child. So a home study is going to take place after you sign on with ANLC and become part of our family. We will actually get you a list of home study providers who we have worked with in the past and have had great experiences with. So we will set you up with your plan.